Hi, that was so quick and easy. Sometimes IG Live be giving people problems, you know what I'm saying? But we just like
It's true.
came up in here, starting right away. Hi, gorgeous.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm
My
good. How you doing?
good. My set manager, stage manager is like adjusting.
You know, mine would be too if he was here. Honey, that lighting is not great, but if you sit over here, yeah, all kinds of different things would probably be happening right now with our sound husbands. So funny.
Yeah.
I'll give him a second. I'm gonna just, we'll just talk about whatever while he's,
I think
uh,
we're.
you're good. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
your help, Mike.
Thank you, my love.
I don't want it.
um, what's up, boo? What's going on? What's on your mind? How are you dealing with this quarantine time?
Good question. I mean, today has been fantastic. Like the weather here is really beautiful. Kind of like our rainy season was a little extended, which of course we need, but it's just really nice to have it nice and warm and sunny. And I got outside and got like some sun kisses on my face, which is really nice. My husband made me some fish and grits, like I feel like ready. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you ready for this day?
But the quarantine has been an interesting experience. I mean, this pandemic in general has been an interesting experience. I think on the one hand, I'm in a very privileged position. I already work from home, and clients are still wanting to do business with me, so I have income coming in. My husband is, of course, out of work, like all musicians. The tours are done for the summer, so that has its like pros and cons. Like he's getting really creative and work on projects he hasn't gotten to do yet, and then same for me. Like I'm getting the stuff that's been on my to-do list for years, which is beautiful. And then also, like at the same time, I've lost some people that I love to this disease. And I have people I love right now who are ill with it, and I have people who I love who have recovered fully from it. I have people who I love who are like in danger every day of contracting it in their various jobs, and who don't know how they're going to feed their children tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like there's of really scary stuff, and then there's all this really beautiful stuff, and it's a lot to sort through. I think a lot of people I know don't know if it's okay to celebrate the good. Do you know what I mean? Like they're not sure if it's appropriate to be like, I had a good day, or to be like, I had a hard day, but other people are dead. Like, they don't know if it's okay to feel their own feelings and experience their own experiences.
I definitely have like split seconds of that before I tell people how I'm doing, where I'm like, can I tell the truth right now? Like, is that okay? And then I do it because the truth, I think, is important, and it's important that we're real with each other. And there's a lot I could say. I mean, anyway, well, you were talking and I kind of interrupted, but
You can always interrupt me, just know that.
Thanks, Winnie. I don't know. I've just been thinking about how there are so many people that are really struggling right now. And I personally happen to know, while I know a lot of people who, all the things that you listed are going through a lot of those hardships, I also know a lot of people who this has actually been a really good time for them, and they've been receiving so many blessings from this time, things that wouldn't have happened had we not been in the situation. And I'm definitely one of them. I mean, it feels even weird to say it, but I'm like, this is one of the sweetest times that I've had in a long time. And
are you willing to share a little bit of what?
Like what the sweet stuff is? Yeah. And I actually wanted to ask you that as well. you know, there's a lot I could say, but I feel like I'm going to start with this. So, you know, our friend, Julie Walker, who's a medical intuitive. So I had a session with her like maybe a month ago. And at the end of our session, she was like, I have some strange homework for you. And I was like, okay. And she was like, I want you to just have so much joy during the quarantine. And I was like, okay. And she was like, I just want you to start collecting like all the sweet memories, all the sweet things that are happening. And I want you to be able to look back and be like, that was just such a sweet time for me. And it was a time that created an experience. It created a time where I was able to be myself, to be myself most of the time. So I'm trying to remember exactly how she said it. It was like, it afforded me the ability to be, yeah, just to be myself, just to be me, like the true, authentic me. And when she said it, like I had a little tear come to my eye, you know, and I was just like, damn, that was deep. And I don't even really know what that means right now. And I've been processing that since to kind of understand that more. And I think because a lot of things did slow down, it allowed me the opportunity to just check in with myself more. Like what do I need right now? I mean, one question that I ask in my daily meditation is like, what do I need today? But now it's been like, and what do I need in this next hour? And what do I need in this moment? And really allowing myself to act on that if I'm able to, you know, and I understand, you know, that it is a bounty and it is a privilege, and it is my circumstances allow me to do this as well. But I've just been really enjoying like being me. And I don't know that I ever consciously was like, I'm not going to be me. But I think that there's just so many messages we get about who we're supposed to be and how we're supposed to live and what does it mean to be a woman, a Black woman, an artist. Like there's so many messages that even if I know intellectually they're false, I still have so many programs that I'm up against, you know? I mean, shoot, I probably the quarter of the things I post in my stories is like, you know, relax, get your nap, take it slow. Meanwhile, capitalism in my ear, like, bitch, did you do enough today? But did you finish that though? But did you finish that though? You know? And so I'm just kind of like, nah, I didn't, son. And I'm good. Like, I'm still good enough. Just how I am, just the way I'm moving, like, and really like allowing myself to just fully express myself however I want to and however I need, and allowing myself. I know I'm kind of known as a little bit of a, you know, self-care queen in our circle, but I'm just like really taking it in even more. I'm like, yes, and I'm going to go for a walk now and get some sun on my face. And, you know, anyway, there's a lot of things I could say. It's just that gives you an idea. Like,
so the one interesting thing that came up for me when you were talking is that I know a lot of us get into these really fearful spaces right now. Like the media is kind of feeding us fear. I mean, the media is always feeding us fear, but right now there's a lot of stuff to be afraid about. Like,
yeah.
am I get sick? Do I have enough money? Do I have a place to live? Will I have a job when this is over? You know, like there's a lot of things to be like, 22 million Americans offer unemployment. But it's interesting what happens when we're afraid. All of our abilities for perception, and not just our physical ones, not just like see, smell, hear, touch, but like all of the ways that we perceive get clouded when we're afraid. It's like a nothing rolls in kind of. So once that's there, not only can we not see ourselves, but we can't see our resources. Like we forget what our resources are. And it's not until and it's almost like when I'm looking at someone who is afraid, usually it appears to me that they're like separated from themselves. Like they're not in alignment. There's like parts of them that are like, it's almost like blurred or like a kaleidoscope. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I have to do then is just just fill them with joy. Like, I'm just like, but look at how amazing you are. And remember how you have this skill. And remember how you've always been able to do this. And remember how, you know, and
You're so
then
good at that.
I can watch them sort of like line back up.
Yeah.
And then not only do they acknowledge those things that I'm reminding them of, they remember like millions of other things that they're amazing at, and millions of other capacities they have for like getting the things that they need and the things that they want.
Yes.
So that's number one. Like, when you find yourself getting afraid and getting frantic, especially in this time, it's really important to like, first of all, the cure to fear is joy. So quickly do something really joyful, like quick dance break, you know, whatever it is. You know, walk outside, get the sun on your face, jump up and down, hug somebody, get a phone call with your girl, whatever it is that brings you joy. Do it. And then like really remember what it feels like to be inside yourself, you know, like fully like empowered in yourself.
Yeah.
And I have not seen it that the solutions don't start rolling in. Like, without fail, the solutions start showing up for you, because not they weren't there before, but because you couldn't see them before.
Right. It makes me, two thoughts came to mind. It makes me think of that quote by Abdul Baha, you know, joy gives us wings. I don't know it by heart. Do you happen to know it by heart?
No.
Girl, me neither. Oh, well, that would have been a nice one to be like, just drop it off the dime. But basically, it says what you said. Like, you know, when we're in our joy, we're able to like, we're just able to think more clearly. We're able to tap into what are our resources. What do we have? What is there to be grateful for? Like, you're stronger. You have a stronger capacity to make the best of your situation. And obviously it's okay when we're not joyful. That's totally normal and totally fine. And we have all the wide spectrum of emotions to feel, and they're all important and they're all valid. But also, I think just for those who are been chiming in later in this conversation, we're just talking about how it's important to not feel guilty or bad for feeling joy in this time, and the importance of actually feeling it if you're able to tap into that. Something I've also been thinking about is just like, you know, we both believe in the oneness of humanity. We both believe in how intricately connected we are. I mean, we would be in big trouble if everybody had anxiety, if everybody was depressed, if everybody was in feeling, you know, in a very traumatic state. Like, thank God there are some of us that aren't struggling that much, because what one person is going through, we're all going through. And so I'm grateful that, not that I don't have my challenges, and not that obviously, you know, life always has its ups and downs. For the most part, this has been a sweet time. And I'm so grateful that I'm able to like give some groundedness and joy and relaxation and trust to the collective consciousness, because just as much as that virus is going around, that mental virus is going around, right? Like, so it's nice to be able to like help create a balance, you know,
another
to
thing,
contribute to the balance.
Another thing that's really important about us being one common, someone just texted me the quote.
Put it in the comments so we can all read it, though.
So
wait, well, I can hear you. You're frozen now.
Oh yeah. Huh. And I'm making such a funny face. But one of the things that's really important about us being one single organism, like different cells of a single organism, is that we can tap into everything that exists, right? Just like you were saying, like, luckily we sort of balance each other out. And the cool thing about this time is no matter what we're going through, whether we're enjoying the quarantine, we're ambivalent about the quarantine, or we're hating the quarantine, or we're devastated by it, all of us are in, now and then, like a state of connection. Like, we're either going into states of prayer, or we're going into like states of meditation, or we're just sort of like sitting and daydreaming, like we're zoning out. Like all of us going into like meditative sort of metaphysical states,
Yeah.
we can explore. And that's sort of what I wanted to talk about today.
Yeah. Wait, Jaja. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but before we go on, I'm wondering if we can try to figure this out because it's a little distracting.
Okay.
I'm wondering if I should end this and start it over, or let me try something real quick. If it ends, then we'll just start over. But let me see. I'm gonna remove you, and then will you just request back?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's see if we can get our girl back with her gorgeous face. We want to see it in action. Hey, Rozzy Boo. Hey, Nia. Hey, P. Thanks for sharing the quote with Jad. Yay! I'm so glad that that worked and that we didn't have to start a whole new video over. But cool. Okay, sorry. I was just like, I really want to see how you're expressing yourself right now. Sorry. Can you say a little bit about what you were just saying? Just
Yeah. So you were talking about how all of humanity is like one organism, right? And I would think we're all cells of this same organism, or we're all different parts of the same organism. So anything that affects one affects the other. And one thing that, two of my favorite thinkers have been talking about the pandemic as a portal, Dr. Ruha Benjamin and Dr. Arundhati Roy, are both just sort of like, this is the pandemic as a portal. And it really is like, it appears to me as like a hallway. And there's doors off of it, and then there's, the exit at the end. And there's all of these things we can be doing while we're in this hallway that aren't where we came in and aren't where we went out.
Yeah.
One of the things that we're all doing, one of those doors that we're all opening, is sort of time away from the physical self. Like all of us are sort of going into metaphysical spaces, whether we're going into prayer, whether we're sitting and just sort of like staring off into space, like if we're just like, what do I do today? Or we're like, going into meditative spaces. And I want to say this too, like a lot of us were taught, I know I was taught that meditation is quietly like clear your brain. That works for some people, but we're all made so differently that that's not the same for everyone. So for me, I get into a very meditative space when I dance, and I also like leave my body completely and often leave the physical form completely when I laugh really hard. Also, when I'm creating any kind of art, I leave my body and get into sort of a higher connection. So whatever works for you, do that. Don't feel like you have to sit. And then some people are like, I always fall asleep. That's fine too. That's a meditative state. So do whatever you do.
Yeah.
But my point is that we're all engaging in that so much more. All of it. And it's because we need,
like, even if it's not conscious.
Yeah. We all need movement. We all need travel. We all need to move outside of ourselves.
Yeah.
Time is sort of providing ample opportunity to do it, whether we mean to or not,
Yeah.
I can just feel it everywhere. Like, and I can feel the earth doing it. And I can feel like, it's just really amazing what's happening.
Yeah.
All these things are.
That's so wonderful. I know you're going to end us with a couple of meditations, but before you do, I have a question for you that I guess in some ways ties your background as a healer and also as a sociologist. And I was wondering if you could speak a little bit between the difference between meditation and disassociation, or any connection you see between the two, since a lot of meditation is happening, but also I think disassociation is happening right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. That makes me think especially of people who are in really, really scary situations, like they're closed in this quarantine with someone who harms them, in whatever way the harm looks. Yeah, I mean, you know, I had quite a bit of abuse that I dealt with growing up. And so I did a lot of dissociation myself. I spent probably most of my life really disconnected from my own physical body.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to survive that, like in order to survive sort of like what was happening in the home, what was happening in the school, what was happening in the neighborhood, I had to just sort of be absent and sort of be on autopilot. So I know that space. I'm very familiar with that space, unfortunately. And I want everyone who uses that tool as a means for defense to understand that it's kind of like, I don't want to say the other side of the coin, but it's so similar to it. It's the disempowered version of meditation.
Oh, wow.
Like it's going into a meditative state defensively, like out of fear, out of like empowerment and out
right.
of
Or a place of like receiving, right? It's more of a place of like sheltering yourself off and distancing.
Yeah. So another really important thing I want to say is all of those, a lot of those ways about myself that I thought were hindrances or like flaws, I guess is the best way to say it. When I was coming up, like I was hypersensitive and I cried about everything and everything hurt me and, you know, whatever. Like, once I decided to live empowered in those things instead of being at the mercy of those things. And in addition, the way that I was dissociating, once I decided to take it as a tool instead of something that happens to me, then all of a sudden, all of those things that made up those flaws reorganize themselves into powers. And then I had to know, like, oh, I've just met this person. I don't really know anything about them. But instead of being overwhelmed by their feelings of what they want, I can sort of taste their feelings and be like, I think this person means me harm, so I'm going to put some distance between us. Or this person has gifts for me, like this person has something to teach me. So let me open myself a little more and make friends with them. So it started being something that instead of like wearing me out and making me weak, it made me even stronger and more able to be who I already was. Just a redefining of the self. So one of the things I really and I still have to practice doing that. Like I spent so much of my time in the disempowered state that I have to snap myself out of it sometimes and be like, no, you're powerful, girl. Like, this is how you do it.
Right. How do people, I mean, does everyone experience meditation and travel in the same way, or like, how is it different? Like, if someone may resonate with what you're sharing, but maybe like, that doesn't happen to me when I zone out or when I go to that spirit place.
So there are two things I want to say about that. One is that we are all so different. Like when I'm working with a client and I'm looking at their non-physical selves and all of the ways that shows up in all these different dimensions, not only are we all different, like it's amazing that in this physical realm we all have like a head, two arms, two legs. Like we are so completely different. That it really doesn't make sense to try and do something the same way anyone else does. So first thing I want to say is trust yourself. Whatever it is you're doing, if you're trying to follow any directions I've given here, and you're like, but this feels more right, do it. The fact that it feels right is a communication from your highest self, like from the part of you that's already been through all this and knows how it's going to turn out. That's guidance from them, you know, like that's guidance on how you're supposed to do it for you. The second thing I want to say, though, is that there are energies out there that don't necessarily have our best interests at heart, you know, like they exist. So it is also important to have the intention to remain authentically connected to light.
Can you
That's really good.
Yeah, speak a little bit more to that? Or wait, were you saying that sometimes other people may be giving you information, or you might even be receiving information? I mean, both could be true, but what, could you repeat again what you were saying?
So
I missed it.
everyone, all of us here were created, and we chose to come here at this time.
Yeah.
For a reason. Like, we all have a mission. We're made the way we're made. We're born into the family we're born, and whatever.
Yeah.
So that we could do the things we came here to do.
Right.
So there is no one who's here for no reason.
Right.
And everybody has like connections outside of this realm that assist, that guide them along their path, right? So when you're tapping in, like, those things exist, of course, but there are also energies that exist that are not, they're just not for us. Like, they're not, they're not interested in our highest potential. They're not interested in us winning. Those things do exist, and that's fine. But it's very, like, it's really easy to not work with those if you just focus on your connection to light.
Yeah.
That's really sort of all there is.
How do you know the difference between the two? I mean, I feel like I know it for myself, but I'm just asking for those that might be kind of hearing this for the first time. That's a question I hear a lot. Like, how do you know when it's your intuition? How do you know when it's light? How do you know which voice to trust? I mean, you know, we give workshops on this whole thing, but let's just give them one or two little things.
Yeah.
Respective time.
What works for everyone? I don't think there's a thing that works for everyone. But what I can say, that number one, ye shall know them by their fruits. If what comes from it is good, you know, if what comes from it is the real deal, then that was the way to do it. What I do for myself and for other people is just sort of like fill completely with light. Like, I start just like, you know, at the top of my head, and I just let light come in, and I call it in. I'm just like, hey, I need more light. I need more cowbell. I need more light. I need more light.
Yeah.
And I just let it fill me until there is no more me. Like, there's no more outline. If there's only light, and I can't perceive any difference between me and the room or whatever's around me, like, it's just all light. And then once that's done, and you ask, the question was, or you seek again whatever it is you were seeking, then clarity is most often there. Like, oh, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
The
one thing I'll just add to that is, which has been really helpful for me, is like the voice of the light, the voice of spirit, our highest self, is always like calm and loving and supportive and encouraging. If you feel like if it's negative or it's forceful, it's urgent, it's like, I gotta do this thing right now. Like, if there's any tension behind the voice, or if the voice gives you worry or anxiety within itself, that's oftentimes darker energy, or, you know, your lower nature, or a consciousness that is not supporting your highest good. So I always pay attention to, like, when I receive information, like, how did it feel, and how is it coming through, you know, how is it visiting my spirit, how is it visiting my body? That's a good one. That's a great way to tell the difference. Yeah, definitely calming every time, and soothing. The bomb. Yeah, and I mean, like, it kind of doesn't matter what your belief system is. Yeah, like, just works for everybody. Yeah. Cool. So I know you were going to lead us in a couple meditations. I have a little bit of a dilemma that's happening on the inside, and it's so silly, but I'm just going to speak it out loud so that maybe you can give me an answer or somebody in the chats can. So because you joined so quickly and we didn't have any technical issues, I was thinking while it was going to take a couple minutes, I was going to like introduce you and read your bio, and I totally forgot to do that. And now I'm like, damn. Is that important? Like, I feel like most of the homies are on here, but I'm sure there's people on here who don't know what you do. Is it awkward if I just take a moment to read it? Y'all, okay. I mean, my personal bio is that the love of my life. my sister, you guys. We've known each other since we were kids. I was like 9 when we met. Ja is just like, she's hella intelligent. She's book smart. She's street smart. She got a big heart.
Oh my gosh. Are you rapping?
Loving you up. And I'm just glad that you've been taking the time to speak with us. I know we're not over, but that's my little mini side bio. But I'm going to read one that is I posted on my last IG post, just because it has a more some well-rounded info about you. For those who don't know, Dr. Zhaleh Phillips is a healer. She facilitates communications between her clients and their ancestral guides, their 5 bodies, and Mother Earth. Her favorite modalities include truth-telling, yoni steaming, earth healing, sociology, and intergenerational trauma reconciliation. Her book learning includes a master's in public diplomacy from USC and a PhD in contemporary slavery from the University of Hull. Dr. Phillips loves to laugh, dance, travel, and she loves a good story. You can follow her on IG, Doc Zhazha, DOCZHA. And visit the link in her bio if you'd like to book a session or, take an online course for empaths and intuitives, or listen to their dope podcast that she does with her husband on vaginal steaming. Okay, I know that was awkward reading your bio in the middle of our talk, but I just felt like, there's people chiming in who have no idea who you are. So now you know if you didn't know.
These t-shirts are available on the podcast link.
Yes. Are there more, or is that the only one up right now?
No, there's all kinds of t-shirts.
I need to go on that link. I've been wanting that one for a minute. Okay, folks said not at all. Yay, cool. I'm glad that was helpful. Yeah, before you lead us into a couple of meditations, is there anything else that's just on your mind that you'd like to share before we kind of wrap it on up?
Yeah. I want to talk a bit about our relationship to Mother Earth. I've recently become really good friends with her. And she has a very complicated relationship with us in that there's a lot of history. But a very uncomplicated relationship with us in that she really loves us. There's a lot of rhetoric going around right now where we're like, this pandemic is because it's punishment for all the things we did to her. She wants us dead and she hates us. This is her getting rid of us.
Right.
And it's just not the truth. It's just not the truth. If we could release the term punishment while we're talking about our relationship with her, and instead, if we can just replace it with the term balance. Everything is balance. Everything, all things love. There's not one thing that exists that doesn't love a balance. Including us and including her,
Yeah.
And we have done some things to imbalance many of the various ecosystems that she has created for herself. But we've also done some really wonderful things here for her, to cultivate her, to return love to her, to be grateful to her. And also, we're not the only ones here, and we're not the biggest ones here. Like, there's lots of preachers that do work to restore balance, you know? There's all these ugly, hideous little bugs that we hate that like eat up all of our dead stuff and all of our trash and turn it into like the most fertile, loamy soil of all time, so that then we can make like the sweetest peaches and, you know, like the most nutrient dense beans. Like there's all kinds of things that happen that are good that we're involved in. Just because like she's older than us and she's really smart and she knows how to survive, it doesn't mean that she's like, all right, Joe, get lost, go die. So, let's get that straight. The second thing that I want to say is that a lot of us are very disconnected from her. And when I look at someone's relationship to Mother Earth, what I do is I look at their spine. I start at the top and I just follow it down, every vertebrae, all the way down to the tip of the tailbone. There I can see a root grow. And that root, if it's connected to the core of the earth, then I can sort of perceive the type of connection Mother Earth has with you and what kinds of gifts and blessings and powers that she's regularly just sending up to you through that root. I can also see if that connection has been severed and where it's been severed. If it's severed at the top of the spine, if it's severed, you know, just below the tailbone, if it's severed almost at the core, right before you get there, it gets severed. Or I can also see if the root is ill, if the root is sort of dried up and brown instead of like happy and green, you know, or whatever. And then I can start asking her questions. And I'm just like, hey, what happened to this root? What is this connection? What how did it happen? Sometimes people disrupted it themselves. More often than not, an ancestor did something that disrupted it. And the balance of that disruption is a few generations of disconnection. And then I can like advocate for a reconnection for that person. I know they're like granddad 20 times removed, you know. Burned this entire jungle to the ground. I know that, and I understand that like then his descendants are disconnected from you. I'd like to talk to you about this person and what they came here to do. Is there a way that this person can be reconnected with you? And if they are reconnected, here are the works they can do throughout the rest of their lives. And here's what they can do in their own little yard or with their own bodies or whatever. And then that conversation, more often than not, leads to a reconnection. Sometimes, every now and then, she's just like, this person needs to do 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we can talk again.
Right.
But that's rare. That's very rare. So what I'm going to do in this meditation is an exercise that will allow us to become aware of our own root. And to just sort of like see what it looks like and feels like when we follow our root down to the core and connect it, and then follow it back up and receive from it. So it's just like
beautiful. And this is something that we can do regularly on our own to make sure that we are nourishing our connection with Mother Earth. I love it. Before you share that, sorry, you froze. Wait. Oh, there you are. Hey, girl. I see a question Tara has. Are you able to read 2 siblings together?
Yes.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Question answered. All right, cool. So, any other questions before we get into this meditation? That might be a good thing.
Should we do Q&A?
Love this conversation. Oh, sorry. Is that okay?
Yeah, anything's
Q&A. Okay. We're totally just like having fun figuring this out. Love this conversation so much. It's filling me with so much joy. Yay, Raquel. So glad. All right. I know sometimes they come in slow, so I don't see any other questions. All right, cool. So I'm so glad that you talked about that. I'm glad you talked about the importance of our connection with Mother Earth, and just the importance that we like remember the balanced perspective, right? Because I have heard that since I was young, just like, that's why we're experiencing this, because Mother Earth is so angry at us, and that's why the fires and the you know, and while there may be some truth to that, it's not the whole truth, and we have to remember that, like, we are, so many people are giving love to the earth and connecting to the earth and giving back to Mother Earth, and it's important that we hold that vision and that energy and that intention, you know, as well, and to continue to do that. How often should you meditate is a question that just came up.
From my best friend, Muna. Hi,
Oh, I
Muna.
can't hear you.
You couldn't
Oh,
hear me.
I can hear you now. Sorry. For a second,
So,
it froze.
Muna, you really should meditate whenever you want to. I mean, I definitely meditate twice daily, but sometimes if I'm just like, ooh, I don't know which way I should go on, like, whether I should do this with my day or that with my day, then I just do a quick, even like 1 minute connection, like tapping into the light, making sure I'm connected to Mother Earth, making sure I'm connected to my highest self, like calling her in to be present with me. And then I'm just like, let me see the best path forward. And that's a meditation. But I mean, my first suggestion is maybe loosening your definition of what meditation is. And then I think you'll find that you already do it several times a day. Like, just with, she's a mom, like, just as a mom, I'm sure you meditate several times a day just to be able to get through the day with your kids already.
Yeah, right. I think that that's so important. I know you spoke on that, just the different ways that we can meditate, but I just want to like affirm like how quick and easy it can be. It doesn't have to be this like, I have to sit down for 15 minutes and do, you know, and whatever. It can be so simple. I remember in one of our sessions we had together, Mother Earth told you to tell me that I need to connect with her 3 times a day. And at the moment, I was going through a lot of stress around time and how I just was feeling like there was not enough time for everything. So just adding one more thing to my plate, that was 3 more things to my plate every single day, my reaction like was totally like rolling my eyes like, damn, like one more thing. I think I like said something like that out loud. And then her response was like, tell her it's just only takes a second. Like, it's not like a big deal. Like, she just needs to connect her feet to the earth, connect to me 3 times a day. It's not like an overwhelming thing or something that's going to take a lot of time. So I think it's just important to remember that there's so many simple ways that we can ground and connect that, you know, don't take long. And when it does take longer and that's what you need, that's great too. You know. Cool. All right, let's get some connecting with the mother.
Okay, so what I would like for you to do is, if you can do this outside, go for it. But if you can't, no worries, like the earth is everywhere, all underneath us and around us. But it does sort of heighten the experience if you can have your bare feet on the earth or your bare palms on the earth. Or on a, you know, sometimes if I don't want to touch the ground for some reason, then I put my bare palm against a tree. So, yeah, so first just get comfortable, and maybe comfortable means laying down. Maybe it means walking around with your earphones in. You know, maybe it means like dancing a bit. Whatever it is, get comfortable. And then I want you to just become aware of your spine. Just think about where it starts at the top of the back of your neck. And follow it down. Look at how all the vertebrae change size the further down you go. Follow it all the way down past your shoulder blades. Watch how it curves slightly as you go further down over the small of your back, and then curves again to come down to the tip of your tailbone. And just give the tip of your tailbone a little bit of love too while you're there. Just be like, hey girl, or hey homie. I love you. And then just see it as a little root sprouts there. And watch as it grows, as you acknowledge it and it acknowledges you. And it becomes more solid. It becomes the perfect shade of green for who you are. And then get ready, because the root is now going to shoot down through the floor, through the foundation, through the earth, down through all these different layers of earth that have built up over time. For some people, it's going straight down. For some people, it's going sort of in a spiral. For some people, it's meandering. That's fine. However it moves is right for you. But let it just keep sort of making its way down, down, down. And then you can kind of sense it before you feel it. But you sense that you're headed towards something really, really powerful. And then sort of all at once, there it is. It's like a sun at the center of the earth. Bright and shining and powerful and pulsating. And you don't need to go to the core of it. You just need to attach your root to the very edge of the core. And once you attach it, immediately something shoots back up the root and straight up back towards you. For me, it's pink. But whatever it is for you is fine. Watch as that color, or maybe it's a pattern, or maybe it's something else. Watch as it shoots back up your root, going all the way we just came, through all the layers of the earth. Back up, through the floor. For me, it's coming through the couch. Back to your tailbone. And then that color fills your entire spine. I can see it going a little slower for some of us, so I'll give us a little more time. Let your spine just be overtaken by whatever the earth is gifting you. All the way up. There you go. Now let's take a deep breath. And right as we're exhaling, whatever your spine is filled with now starts to emanate through the rest of your body. It's going out and filling your whole trunk. It's going out over your shoulders and down your arms, filling in the corners of your elbows and your fingertips. And it's also going up over the top of your head, turning every single one of your eyelashes, the tips of your ears, every tooth, came down over your chin, down your throat. It filled in your pelvis, and now it's heading down your legs, all the way into that tiny little back space at the back of your heels, in between every toe, and that nice soft spot underneath your ankle. Everything is getting filled with what the earth has gifted you. Now let's take 3 more deep breaths while we let that wonderful gift, that wonderful stuff permeate every single cell of our bodies. And while we're receiving love from the earth in this way, let's also send some love back to her. If you'd like to say it aloud, you can. If you just want to have the intention, you can. But just tell her how much you love her and how much you appreciate her for giving you all the raw materials that make up your bones and your sinews, your beautiful skin, that unique heartbeat of yours, everything that makes up all parts of your heart. Everything. And then feel her give you just a little bit more for sending her some love back. Now, it's up to you what you do with this gift. You can carry it around for the rest of the day in your cells, or you can pop it out into a shell or into sort of like a shield that you can stay safe and warm inside. Those are usually the two things that I do. And then look around you at the room you're in. What looks different now that you've done this meditation and you're filled with these gifts from the earth? What maybe did you not notice before in your room or about yourself? And then open up your mind and let it wander. What are some ideas you have that you didn't have before? What are some new ways of doing the things you already do? Yeah, and that's it. Doesn't take that long. It's even shorter if someone isn't talking you through it. You're just doing it.
That was so beautiful. That was lovely, Ja.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah. I'm really, as you know, I'm pretty connected to my energetic body. And yeah, I just feel like I was able to open up some different channels, like connect them to the spirit world. One of the things the gift, you were like, you can do whatever you want with the gifts. And I asked for creative portals to be placed around my soul. Creativity and like tapping into that is something that is a big intention on my heart right now. So I just felt like these different openings all around my spirit body. And then I saw, when you said look around the space, I saw how it's like there's pockets where there's more space in the room. I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like as if air, if it was dense, there's places where like it's not dense anymore. I don't know. Anyway, that was cool. Sorry, everyone has a very different experience, so no comparing or anything. I'm just sharing.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. That's so cool. Like I said, everyone's so different. So I'm always so nosy. Like, what did you see?
Yeah. Someone said when I sing, maybe I can try to feel that vibration in my whole body, not just my throat. Yes. Love that.
Yes,
Love that.
great
That was
idea.
beautiful. And then there was one more meditation you were gonna guide us through?
Yeah, well, I wanted to
Or
just
talk.
offer these as tools. There are two
Okay.
other meditations that I do regularly, especially if I'm going through something difficult and I need to get back into who I am and back into my power. The
Yeah.
first is the I am meditation. That's it. You just say I am over and over. So, you just say I am over and over and over.
Oh, not I am something, not like an affirmation, just I am, like affirming yourself, your existence. Yes, you better shorten the affirmation. You ain't even got to fill in the blank. You just say them first two letters over and over as long as you like to. I love
Because
that.
if you put something after it, you're limiting yourself. Like you're using what you already think you are rather than opening yourself to all the possibilities of all the things you actually are that you don't even know yet.
Oh my God, that just gave me chills.
Yeah. Like,
Because yeah, I love affirmations, and obviously I know you're not saying that they're not helpful or that not to use them. I use them in my meditation, my daily meditation. I actually end with them. I'm like, I am da, 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 I am da, da, da. Like I just kind of like, and I dance while I say it just to try to embody like what it is that I'm saying. And you saying that even all those fill in the blanks can be limiting, like just blew my mind. I'm like, oh my God, I cannot wait to try the just I am by itself. and to see like what happens.
Mhm.
That's dope.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so healing. And it's just all it is remembering. It's just a remembering exercise. Before we came here, before we agreed to come here and forget who our eternal selves were and then get reconnected with them, like
Yeah.
it's just a
This actually
remembering.
might shorten the process for me too, because every time I'm working through something new, I add that affirmation to my affirmation meditation. And you know, that's just gonna keep growing and growing as we keep like finding new things we're working through. So I'm like, you know what? Just I am.
Covers everything.
Covers everything. I love it.
And then
Cool.
also,
Thank you for sharing that.
of course. And it's so simple, you can run it through your head anytime, like while you're, I mean, we don't really drive that much anymore, but like while you're doing the dishes, it can just be running like, I am, I am, I am, I am, you know? And, you know, or while you're doing your morning routine. Morning is always a good time to get back into who you are, you know? So, yeah, I love that one for that. And then I'm going to also share one that's a bit longer, but I think is especially important for this pandemic, like for this time period, for these uncertain times, as everyone likes to say. Um, and this is the Ho'oponopono meditation,
Mm.
which is an old favorite of mine. And the underlying meaning really is about us being one organism, one human organism.
Mm.
And that everything that I do and everything that I am, also you are, and everything that you are, also I am. So I'm responsible for you and your actions just as I'm responsible for my own.
Mm-hmm.
We're always both the oppressor and the oppressed. We're always both, you know, the victim and the victor. Like, if we take responsibility for all of those things,
Mm-hmm.
then we can collectively heal ourselves, right? So I don't usually get that big into it when I'm doing this meditation. I'm usually focused on like my own body or my own actions or a project I'm doing or like sort of my sphere. But
Mm-hmm.
once you get into this meditation, it moves on its own and you find yourself like realizing that you're not in the same place you started. It's really amazing. So
Yeah.
the Ho'oponopono meditation is especially great for third eye, intellectual body stuff.
Uh-huh.
So if you're really feeling confused about what is the truth and what is not, what philosophy you agree with and what you don't, which ideologies you work for you and which ones don't. This one's really good for that as well. I
Mm-hmm.
do it during my moon time to release all of the things that my intellectual body took in that I have no use for. I use it
Mm.
to, like, you know, release all of those things since it's a good time of release. Full moons are a great time for release. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is just a good one. Um, so this meditation has 4 phrases and they're really short and they're ones you're already familiar with. So it's not that hard, but if you want to write it down, do it. And they,
Ja, sorry to interrupt you. Our video is about to cut off, so I'm gonna restart a new video right now. If anyone would like to continue with us, we're almost done. But if you'd like to continue with us, please just rejoin our video. So we're just gonna start over, okay?
cliffhanger.
Sorry, but it's about to cut us off, so I didn't want to cut you off in the middle of the video to cut everyone off. So all right, we'll see you guys in a few seconds. Whoever wants to rejoin us. Okay, yay! Thanks for bearing with us, guys. Hey, get it. Cool. So you were talking about the prayer that there's 4 steps
Yeah.
to it, or the
Yeah.
meditation. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are 4 phrases. And those phrases are I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And that's it. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, you know, you can probably tell from the name, it's from a Hawaiian tradition.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's, I mean, all kinds of information. It's an ancient meditation. If you want to research it more, especially the philosophy behind it and sort of the philosophy of aloha, it's just really amazing.
It is so amazing. Like just the one, I mean, one story that I know, and please correct me, anybody who knows the story, and I might get a detail wrong or something, or a detail or two, but there was a clinician who was using this prayer to like heal a lot of his patients. He was like saying this prayer. I believe a lot of them had a mental illness. They were prisoners, and literally by going through his case files and saying this prayer to every client, he started noticing like miraculous changes with how people were like recovering and healing. Yeah, there's just been some really beautiful like documentation and research around the power of this prayer. It's so short and simple. Dr. Hugh Land, thanks, Nia. Yeah. So if you want to search that to find that story, I think it's definitely worth looking up. It's really cool. Such a powerful, powerful meditation.
Yeah. The spelling is HO'PonoPONO.
Mm-hmm.
Ho'oponopono. And I'll say it again because I see we have some more people that just joined. But it's I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you were sharing earlier different ways that you use it. I tend to use it for like really like relationship stuff is like when it comes up for me, like if I'm having some, tension or struggling with someone for some reason, I say that prayer for us, for there to be like healing and understanding. And I know that I maybe a month or two ago, I did a whole like IG post on this. And one of the things I spoke about was I know a lot of people get hung up on the I'm sorry part. Like if they are saying this in relation to if they feel like someone's done them wrong and they don't feel like they had a part in, you know, like I don't want to say I'm sorry. Like they need to be saying sorry to me. And I just wanted to say a couple things to that. That one, for me, if I were to feel that way, I think just focusing on the fact that like, well, what am I sorry about? Like, I'm sorry that we're in this situation. I'm sorry that we're hurting. I'm sorry that you're hurting so much that you felt you needed to hurt me. And I'm sorry for whatever maybe I have done that I might have a blind spot to, and that I might not actually recognize how I have contributed to whatever the situation is. So I just wanted to offer that little like nuance to consider for those that may like that one line might be a little challenging for them depending on how they're using the meditation, but it's so good. And my girl Nia, who is on here, by the way, has a little meditation, has that meditation on her last album, No Place is Safe. It's so lovely. So if you don't remember it, then look up No Place is Safe and play that track, and there you go. Someone's going to say it for you.
Seriously, it's so beautiful.
It's really lovely.
Yeah. And then I also wanted just to say, like, the person that I have like the most conflict with in this life is my physical body. Like, I want to be friends with her, but we don't always get along, you know?
Yeah.
But I love her. But I don't listen to her. I don't be feeding her right, you know, like I don't give her all the things she wants.
Yeah.
And she, you know, just be punching me in the back sometimes. Whatever. Like we just don't get along all the time.
Yeah.
But I want to. And she wants to, you know, so
yeah.
Most of the time I'm saying this to her, like, girl, I love you and I'm sorry. And please forgive me. Also thank And I say it when I'm sick, you know, I'm just like, show me what I need to do to make you better. Show me what you need support from. The other time I use this outside of like my moon time when I need to release stuff that doesn't serve me, I also use this prayer when I'm going into a space where I think there's going to be conflict. And I'm talking about the DMV. I'm talking about, you know, a client that's trying to like stiff me, you know, our former landlord. Whenever, even like before I write that email, if I'm not even going to see the person, like before I write the email, like let me say this prayer so I can prepare myself to be, you know, in my highest space. And also like, let me give something to this person. Let me gift them with some love so that they can receive me in the way that I mean to be received, and also so they can communicate in a way that I can receive them, and we can really find our common ground and work from there. Yeah. And it works every time.
Yes to all of that. And I love that you say that prayer so often to your body. That almost made me cry, just knowing you and knowing how real that struggle is. And it made me think of what you were talking about earlier. You know, we were talking about just the connection between disassociation and meditation. That's an example of some of the times where you aren't kind to your body is because there is a dissociation there. But meditation is one of the things that brings you back into that healing, into that connection, into that nurturing space. So that's beautiful.
Yes, must be done.
Yeah. So that was 3 meditations. I thought we was gonna do 2, but y'all got 3 meditative tools. I hope you took a note, took it in, let it sink into yourselves. You know, this video will be up for about another 24 hours. So if you missed the other meditations or any part of the conversation and you'd like to revisit it, you're welcome to. Any last thoughts or anything, Ja, before we say goodbye to the peeps?
I really just want to encourage everyone to trust yourself. Trust yourself. If you really think you're supposed to be watching the news to keep up on what's happening, but you really want to turn it off, turn it off. You can turn it back on later. Take a break. You know, like trust yourself. Trust yourself completely.
Yeah.
There are parts of you that know everything. There are parts of you that know everything that you need right now, everything that you're going to need in the future, and everything you needed in the past. So trust yourself. You know yourself better than anyone.
Amen. Amen. Oh my God, I cannot wait to squeeze you in person when we're able to. And for those of you who, you know, like I said, are interested in working with Ja, there's so many ways you can stay in touch with her. Her website link is connected in her IG profile. So you can click on that to book a session, listen to the podcast, and do all kinds of stuff. We also have a really fun, I mean, given that all goes well, which I think hopefully by the fall, everything will be moving forward, I hope. But yeah, a really fun healing arts retreat that we're putting together in Grenada in the Caribbean in September 13th to the 19th. Yeah. And so Zhaleh will be offering private sessions and workshops, and I'll be teaching dance and movement. We'll have daily yoga. It's gonna all kinds of goodness. There's info on it on my website, TatianaZamir.com, for anyone who's interested.
Let me also say just this one more plug. So a lot of you know me as yoni, like you're my yoni steaming clients, or my pelvic steaming clients. I steam men as well. But what I have been doing recently is putting together nasal steams for people who are concerned about being exposed to COVID-19 or having COVID-19 in their homes. It's a preventative, doing herbal nasal steams. But it also, I mean, I had it back in January, and it was clutch, and just making sure that the mucus all got out of there, and, you know, the bacteria didn't have places to thrive. So I can just talk with you, ask your body which herbs it needs, and then make custom nasal steams for you. So hit me up.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool. I love you so much, 20. Thank you so much for this experiment, joining this this IG live conversation with me. I had such a good time.
Thank you so much for having me. I mean, we've never not had a great time together. So of course, this is going to turn out the way it did. Thank you so much for inviting me. Please keep doing these conversations. Kelsey's last week was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a lot of my friends have been like, this is so cool. You're going to start a podcast? You're going to do it, like all these things. And I'm like, nope. You know, the inspiration came to me momentarily. You two came to me. If I were to continue this, I have a long list of amazing women, even men, that I would love to continue this with. So we'll see what happens. As of now, we had Kelsey's last week. We got you this week. And that was that. And it's been fun. Nia's laughing at me. But we'll see. Anyway, I'm glad that this worked out. I always say if there was like several Tatis, then there's a lot more I would do. I would like, Tati number 4, you do that podcast, girl. You gotta interview the people. You gonna be the poet. You gonna be the choreographer. You just focus on healing. So there's, but can't do it all. Or can we? I am. Okay, now we just acting up. I love you.
I love you too. So and can I also thank everyone who tuned in? You guys created a really beautiful energy in here. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes to that. That was really sweet. Feeling you guys. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Much love.